Was good. People was good. Let's randomly relate. Reverse rants. No hate. All right, let's get into it. All right, so here's the deal. Anthony Joshua was asked a question that people are probably going to be talking about years to come still. This has been over a decade, 2 decades now. They're still talking about this. Who would win in their primes, Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson? Now, I don't do the bias thing, man. I don't care who I would like to see win. I just break it the way I see it. We will never know. It's just opinions. We will never know. I don't debate and argue. I just conversate. Anthony Joshua made some points and I understood his points, but he overlooked something. Like, they were asked who would win in their primes. Even though Ali was still young in life when he came back, Ali wasn't in his prime. He wasn't the same Ali. And not to mention, he came back, fought Jerry Quarry. And after he fought Jerry Quarry, he won. But I think Ali should have had at least two or three, at least 2 or 3 fights to get back in the groove of things. But the truth is, Ali was still great. He was still great enough to have intriguing fights that, and look, he still was great. But Ali wasn't the same. His hand speed, his time, and his reflexes, it wasn't the same. Okay, now, no excuses, but that wasn't his prime when he came back. Just like everybody always say, from 83 to 86 or 86 to whatever the years that they when Tyson turned pro, they always use those 3 years as key. Like, nobody could beat him. Now it's opinion. It's no fact. How the hell can we prove that nobody could beat him? Okay, I don't know. And then he said Ali was a light heavyweight. I get the points Anthony Joshua was making, but it didn't mean anything. He fought Sonny Liston, who was a full-fledged heavyweight. We saw what happened there. Okay, he was fighting full-fledged heavyweights, and there were a lot of heavyweights that were undersized, but like he used Lennox Lewis, for example, about being a big heavyweight. Well, Evander Holyfield was 206 pounds, 209 pounds, and he was able to give Lewis a run for his money. And Holyfield wasn't the same when he fought Lewis. Okay, wasn't the things happen, wear and tear, man, injuries, and things happen. Okay, just like when people say Tyson wasn't the same without Customato, but he was still in his prime years of his life. We're not talking about somebody who was with the guy and now they're late 30s or something. No, and the wear and tear on their body. No, we're talking about guys. That's what Ali and Tyson both had in common in that situation. They were still young. But here's what I think. I don't know who would have won. I think they could have beat each other. If I had to pick one guy and say, okay, I can only pick one, and have to get, I would say Ali. But I think Tyson could beat him, but I think he could beat Tyson. And what the differences is, in my opinion, I think Ali was mentally tougher than Tyson. And Ali could take punishment. Tyson freaks out when he gets hit and he gets hurt and you get the best of it. He can't, you see how Tyson could take it, but he can't get it. Now, I don't give a shit if Customato was training him or not. You still have to go in there and perform, man. I mean, we're talking about grown ass men. I get tired of hearing people talk about how Customato pushed him and this person would have did this and this person. We don't know what would have happened. You have to listen, right? Just like Deontay Wilder has Mark Breland, but he doesn't listen to what Mark Breland says. So what fucking sense does it? What does it matter if George Foreman, if Floyd Mayweather, if whoever? What does it matter if these guys are giving him advice and talking to him, and if he's not listening? And even if he listens, can he implement it into his fight style so it works for him? It's not just because I don't give a fuck who you have training. I mean, come on, he has Mark Breland. Go figure, right? Now, I'm not really interested in all this fantasy shit. Because then you're using your imagination, and then people make their imagination their fact, like it's fact. Like I think that it would have came down to mental toughness, conditioning. I think Ali was in better condition than Tyson. Ali used to fight 15-round fights, and people talk shit about um, Ali wouldn't have went one round with Mike Tyson. I'm like, do you motherfuckers realize Mitch Blood Green went 12 rounds with Mike Tyson? Do you motherfuckers realize Tony Tucker went 12 full rounds with Mike Tyson and fought and was given a fight? Now, even though he beat both of them, Tucker did better than Green did, much better than Green did. But Tony Tucker is not considered an all-time great on nobody's fucking list. Who the fuck? How many times have you been talking about all-time greats and somebody say, yo, Tony Tucker, that guy? I do think he doesn't get credit for being a good fighter because people really don't even talk about Tony Tucker at all. So are you telling me Tony Tucker is better than Muhammad Ali? Mitch Green is better than Muhammad Ali? So when you say shit like Ali wouldn't have went one round, oh, he would have knocked Ali out. He couldn't fucking knock out Tony Tucker and fucking Mitch Green. How the fuck he gonna knock out Ali? Is it possible? Yeah. But think about this. You got two guys that's not considered they're not even close to an all-time great list. Lennox Lewis, when he fought Tony Tucker, of course, Tucker was a little older then too. Okay, but look, and I get the prime year example, okay, comparison. But to me, that's like an irrelevant topic. And I'm gonna tell you why. Everybody's fucking prime doesn't even last the same amount of time. Because if that's the case, then you can't even fucking talk about Ali or Tyson in the same breath as Floyd fucking Mayweather. Because at 38 years old, he was still ranked. Okay, let's be fucking fair. He was ranked pound for pound best fighter in the fucking world at 38. Okay? At 38, Ali was getting beat up by Larry Holmes. Bad. Before 38, Ali lost to Leon Spinks, who only had 7 fights. And don't say, yeah, but Ali was getting older, because that's the fucking point. Just like Floyd Mayweather was 38. This is exactly my point. He was still sharp. He still had his wits, his speed, his hands was breaking down and stuff. And Floyd would tell you, man, my body's breaking down. What the fuck do you want from the guy, man? But again, just like at 38, Holmes got knocked out by Mike Tyson. 33, 34. Sugar Ray Leonard got annihilated by Terry Norris. So you can't. So what I'm saying, when you look, certain guys, like look at, for example, when Bernard Hopkins fought Roy Jones, they were in their physical primes. They were young, and they weren't superstars yet. They didn't have that status yet, but it didn't make a difference in terms of what they were able to display in the fight. I know Roy fought, he hurt his hand in the fight or something like that, so it wasn't an action-packed fight, but Roy beat him easily and beat it when it mattered. Now, in the rematch, nobody gave a fuck about it. But at that point, Bernard was better than Roy. Because the things that made Roy stand out and what made him RJ, he couldn't do it. Roy Jones could no longer compete and win against the elite guys. And him losing to Bernard Hopkins, who's like 4 or 5 years older than him. Roy was even calling him old man in the fight. Man, he brought him some Viagra and all of that. If you look at that shit, man, this is what I'm saying about when people try to break from this year to this year. For one, it don't matter what fucking year you choose. That might have been their better years, but we can't fucking prove that, oh, Ali would have definitely beat Tyson or Tyson would have definitely beat. We don't know that shit. We're just speculating. I would go with Ali because I think Ali's movement, Tucker was bothering Tyson bad with that jab and how he would move and turn it and getting, he was giving it to him, man. And I think Tyson won. Don't get me wrong, Tyson did win, but it was a good fight, and Tucker didn't get credit. And if you guys remember, you guys call these motherfuckers boxing experts, boxing aficionados, and nothing but people with opinions just like us. If you grew up in boxing, watching this shit, studying this shit, motherfucker, your opinion, your judgment should be just as keen as anybody else's. Take the bias out. Guess who the fuck Tyson was supposed to fight? And he didn't fight him. Michael Spinks. Guess who Michael Spinks was supposed to fight? Tony Tucker. And he didn't want to fight Tucker. And they said, now we see why. Right. I was a fucking kid. And as a heavyweight, I'm like, Mike gonna kill Michael Spinks, man. I never really cared for Spinks as a heavyweight. I didn't like his fight style. But, I mean, it is what it is. I thought as a light heavyweight, he fought hard. He did come to fight. But as a kid, I'm like, Mike Tyson is going to kill him. So what happened when they fought? It took Tucker to fight Mike Tyson for them to come to the conclusion. Now we see why Michael Spinks didn't want to fight him. And they actually was saying, we'd much rather see Michael Spinks versus Tyson. That's the better fight. Bullshit. You saw what happened when Mike fought Spinks? But all of this build-up that they gave Spinks, I didn't see where it came from. I just didn't understand it. But when you break these fights down and say, in his prime, this guy versus this guy, like Sugar Ray Leonard's prime didn't last long, man. Sugar Ray retired, come back, retired, come back. And, Ray, before he retired the first and second time, was like, I don't know, it's like, he's another guy, man, that if you don't just look at the big signature fights, look at their careers and what they did against who and how it went. That's what I do. I look at the whole thing. Just like you take like Roy Jones. It got hard to watch Roy Jones fight when he slipped because it was like, damn, he's losing the guys. He's losing the journeyman. He's losing the guys that he normally would have destroyed. But you can't count the losses and not the wins. You can't count the wins and not the losses. If he gets beat and knocked out by a journeyman, you can't, but then you go, oh, Roy got knocked out. That motherfucker ain't shit. But then when he beat the same caliber fighter, oh, that motherfucker was a bum. Well, okay. I don't like to really call fighters bums, but if he lost to a bum and you talked about it, okay. You knocked him for that, didn't give him credit for beating the bum. Because guess what? He's no longer in his prime, and this is what you're going to get. It's as simple as that. So I look at the career, and I don't really care about all that prime shit, man, to be honest with you. I mean, there's answers that can be given, with like I said, which is just opinions. But, and one thing about the comparison with Mike and Ali, is people always talk about the years with Mike being with Customato as if, because they're saying Customato's name, there was no way that you could beat Mike. No, Mike was good. Mike has not been tested by any of those guys because he was that much better than them. But what happens when you hit a motherfucker like Ali? Ernie Shavers couldn't knock Ali out. George Foreman couldn't knock Ali out. Joe Frazier knocked him down but couldn't knock Ali out. Like, somebody made the comparison that he got dropped by Henry Cooper, right? And he got the fuck back up. Okay, that don't mean shit. Chris Bird went up to heavyweights, and was dealing with these heavyweights. When his reflexes started slipping is when he started getting dropped, right? He went back down to light heavyweight and got knocked the fuck out. So you understand? You can't look. Joe Frazier don't hit as hard as George Foreman, from what we understand, right? He couldn't knock Ali out. He knocked him down. George Foreman couldn't even get Ali on. He not even like he hurt Ali. And he was throwing some hard clubbing shots. Ernie Shavers wobbled Ali a couple of times, but Ali never looked like he was, out on his feet or nothing like that. He didn't go down and Ali fought that motherfucker. Ali stood in front of him and fought him. So, I mean, Mike Tyson had that aura, that presence, like people just thought, Mike was going to win. Because look when Mike Tyson fought Evander Holyfield. I couldn't find one person that thought that Holyfield was going to win that fight, man. I remember people were like, come on, man, you know boxing. How you going to say? I'm like, man, listen, I think Holyfield is a better fighter than Mike Tyson. And if he can take his shit, that don't mean standing just letting the motherfucker hit him with unnecessary shit. I'm saying when he get one in, don't let him get combinations off and he can counter and make Mike. I'm like, man, Holyfield is better than Mike Tyson, man. Nah. I'm telling you, like, okay, you ain't telling me shit. But we gonna see when the fight happened. Oh, but he was headbutting. Both of those fights. For all y'all that talk that headbutt shit, your memories are faulty. I watched those fights. In fact, I watched both of those fights again this morning. Just because. Those headbutts y'all talk about are non-existent. When those hit the clash that happened, even the commentators now, that was accidental. Holyfield just had that style. You know when you fight, you tuck your chin. So if you get it, boom, it's not catching you flush in the chin. And Holyfield had that style where he turned, he turned his body with his shots and he leaned forward to get his weight. Look at Mike Tyson's show, Hot Boxing, right? He had Holyfield on there. So for everybody that says that shit, Holyfield debunked that shit right there to Tyson's face. He said, Mike was dealing B wild headbutting him. He headbutting me. Huh? I'm taller than him. Mike was headbutting me. So people start saying that. I was here. Mike sitting there cracking the fuck up, hitting the table laughing. He didn't deny that shit. Mike was a dirty fighter too. I mean, when Mike Tyson fought Tucker, shouldered my man, hit him low. When he fought Razor Ruddock, hit him low and smiling like, yeah, motherfucker. You know, Mike did some dirty elbow people. But again, when he did it, people made excuses for it. And I just think that people want, for the people that want to say Mike is better, that's what they're going to do. They're going to say Mike with this, Mike with... That's, I don't care about their opinions. That's cool. Everybody's entitled. But break that shit down realistically, man. Who the fuck you ever seen knock Ali out? Even when Ali was... And I give Ali credit for this, too, because when he fought Holmes and he was 38, he was out, man. He had nothing. Holmes was putting the beating on that man. Ali would not go the fuck down. So where the fuck makes you think a prime Ali or old third? No, Holmes don't hit as hard as Tyson. That don't mean shit. Just like I said, because Frazier don't hit harder than Foreman. Ali fought he got his jaw broke in the third round against Ken Norton in the first fight. Fought 15 fucking rounds. He fought 12 rounds with a broke fucking jaw. Norton can punch. But y'all like quick to, y'all act like, certain fighters we try to characterize them to be immortal. Like they just had superhuman in strength. I'm just trying to be as realistic as possible. And I think Ali's movement, his constant talking shit, tying him up when he needs to, not being careless, because that's one thing that can get Ali in trouble against Tyson, because he had times when he got careless. Now, I'm not talking about how he slipped punches with his hands down. That was part of Ali's style. He didn't do that because he didn't know how to fuck the fight. He couldn't think of nothing else to know. That was, if you watch, Ali would do that shit. You would throw a shot, he would slip, turn, and he would dip off. And you know what he would do? He would dip, and he would be on that back foot where he could throw that jab, and throw that cross. Bam! That way, even if he missed, you were this way, he this way. Ali was slick, man. He was strictly a headhunter. And I think Mike gets frustrated, and I think Mike starts doing wild shit, hitting low, and just trying to take his head off and not focusing with his game plan. Those guys he fought, they wasn't as good as Ali, Bone Crusher Smith held him all night long. There's people, think about the guys that went the distance without him. And then you're going to say, but I'm talking about in this pro. So fucking what, man? You can't fucking tell me a man in his fucking 20s, because both of them wasn't the same. Both of them wasn't the same. And we talking about Mike before he went to jail. We talking about Ali after he was exiled for 3.5 years. Before Mike went to jail, people were saying Mike wasn't the same. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you're just going to take 3 years from out the man's life and say, oh, from this year to this year. I mean, to me, that's just bullshit, man. I would go with Ali. And throughout the duration of their career, I believe Ali was able to sustain a greater status than Mike was. Don't get me wrong. It's not like Ali did shit perfect. Ali, I remember Howard Cosell said, Muhammad Ali is calling. He was running what I call a bum of the month club, fighting these meatballs. They all had ups and downs. It's just that when time goes past and a new batch of fighters come in, a new generation, we always try to make the older generation sound like they was like leaps and bounds ahead. But I'll be honest with you, and like I'm saying, I've been in the game. I don't really give a fuck. I mean, when these fighters, look, right now, today, the fighters that, when they fight, I want to see win, Anthony Joshua, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford. They fight, I'm like, I don't know. But, Clarissa Shields, whoever she fight, I'm rocking with Clarissa. That's why I hope she don't fight Layla, because I don't know who to, you know. Well, that's not the reason, the only reason. But anyway, that fight don't need to happen. But there's the bottom line. Look, when AJ lost to Andy Ruiz and we were saying something that looked right with AJ, guess what, motherfuckers? We were saying it before the bell rung. AJ looking kind of, it's not Andy Ruiz's fucking problem, whatever the situation was. Andy Ruiz's job is to go in there and secure a win. That's what he did. So I don't give a shit what everybody else said. Nobody ever heard me, no, man, no, he was, no. If AJ would have came in there 120 fucking percent in the rematch and fought the same way, he'd have lost again, in my opinion. So AJ did what he had to do. So only people who want AJ to lose, oh, he was running. That motherfucker was running. When Ali did it, y'all called it dancing, right? When Ray Leonard did it, y'all called it dancing, right? But the generation before Ray Leonard, the people that was Ray Robinson fans, had the nerve to say Ray Robinson would have killed Ray Leonard. All Ray Leonard did was ran. Like when he fought Hagler, especially when he fought Duran in the rematch. Well, what was he supposed to do against Duran? Go in there the second time and cross his fingers and hope he catch Duran first? Boxing, bro. That's what it's called, boxing. And when we make these comparisons with these fighters, we always try to, like when you're biased, you try to find, like I said, like with Mike, those 3 years today, Mike, nobody could beat Mike. Okay, you entitled to your opinion. We can't prove the shit, but I still think it's bullshit. Okay, because if that's the case, then what you should do is retire after your prime is you're no longer winning the same way, right? So that means, are you saying Mike should only fought for 3 fucking years? No. And when Mike came out of jail, I mean, remember what people were saying? I hate to be the first person to fight Mike when he come out. That motherfucker gonna be mad, boy. Woo! Mike came back. He got in the ring. He looked nervous. He looked rusty. He was missing a lot of shots. I mean, look at the guys. Buster Mathis, Peter McNeely. These guys was like, I mean, Mike wasn't the same either. Mike, just like Ali, he was never able to be as great as he was before. But he was still great enough to win a championship again and knock some motherfuckers out. So, they all had ups and downs. There's no fighter that did everything exactly perfect, man. But that's what pissed people off about Money Mayweather, man. It's not the 50, it's that O. If he had a one up there, that 50, they'd be like, all right, somebody finally got that motherfucker. But that O fucking pissed people off. And, you look at guys in their prime, man. When people say Sugar Ray was old when he lost to Terry Norris. How the fuck was he old when he lost to Terry Norris? He just beat down Lalonde and got praised for that. Like, ask Sugar Ray, who are you looking at to fight, right? Sugar Ray Leonard didn't give a particular answer. When they brought up Pernell Whitaker, he, gave Pernell props that he's, a good fighter. Other than this, when they brought up Chavez, it's a joke. He's too small, right? Now, you had, and this goes for Marvin Hagler too. This goes for Leonard, Hearns. This guy could have fought Michael Nunn. He could have fought James Toney. He could have fought Mike McCallum. He could have fought Julian Jackson. Those guys, okay, that class before this class could have fought, and they didn't. Now, Leonard did go and fight Terry Norris. Now, believe, and Leonard's the guy that whenever Leonard fight anybody, I'm going Leonard. Now, I'm going to be real with you. When he fought Terry, I was like, oh, man, because Terry was vicious, man. A focused Terry Norris, that motherfucker could beat just about anybody, man. Especially like from 147 to 154. Terry was vicious. It wasn't that he didn't have a chin. I've seen fights with Terry would take a fucking bow. Terry had wear and tear. By the time Terry was 29 years old, 28, they say he had after one fight, his speech was slurred. Over 319 amateur fights or something like that. And Terry trained. He said he sparred for like 15 to 22 rounds. Terry, you watch Terry Norris fight. I would say Terry might have been the best conditioned fighter ever. You've never seen Terry look tired. Look at how many punches around Terry threw. Terry's problem was he would lose focus and get too overzealous to get the knockout. And I never forget him and Oscar De La Hoya had a double main event. I forgot the guy named that Oscar fought, and I forgot the guy that Terry fought. But Terry fought first. Terry was tearing this guy's ass up. I mean, from start till when he got caught, And Terry had a bad habit of just losing focus. He go on the ropes, he gets tagged, he get caught, he get overzealous trying to get the knockout, and he gets clipped. And that ruined the De La Hoya fight. But I think that Team Ray Leonard thought, we're going to catch him slipping. He's going to make a mistake. My veteran experience. Come in, we'll get him. Never happened. And Leonard said on the way to the ring, he knew he was going to lose. I think it's because reality starts setting in like, man, you know what? I think I bit off more than I can chew. This motherfucker ain't no joke. Who am I fooling? And, you know, people started saying, oh, and he was younger. Come on, man. Come on. Like, how young? Why do we always have to go back and say if this guy was this age or that age and whatever? Look, you climbed through the ropes, you went in the ring, you won. Donnie Lalonde was outboxing Ray Leonard. Now, if Ray Leonard would have lost that fight, they would have been like, oh, Leonard's not the same. But because he knocked Lalonde out, he shows the heart of a champion. He came back and knocked out a guy after being outboxed and down on the scorecard. He did the same thing against Hearns. You understand what I'm saying? And if you watch, they said this is not the same Leonard that fought Hagler. That's bullshit. The Leonard that fought Hagler was doing the same shit. Throw one hard punch and hold. Throw a punch, get out the way and move. Throw a punch, hold. You know? When he get on the ropes, throw that little flurry shit, you know, and then move. Against Lalonde, what was different with Hagler was stalking Leonard. Leonard was stalking Hagler. Was stalking Lalonde. But yeah, I mean, come on. This wasn't the same 147-pound Leonard with the super fast hands and do his shots with better purpose. I really didn't understand why Leonard fought Duran, the third fight. I really felt like, you know, Duran again. Leonard got booed after that fight. So for all y'all Mayweather haters that be talking this shit like Leonard could do no wrong, Leonard had a perfect career. No, go back. Leonard got booed out the arena, man. He got booed. They booed him. Because here you are, and Leonard was only in his, early 30s. So how the fuck do y'all see he's washed up? Then they did the same dirty shit to Terry Norris for beating the Beast Mugabe. The Beast Mugabe was only 30. Oh, he was past his Oh, right. He was past his prime because he got knocked out in one round. At the end of the day, when you climb through those ropes and you're talking, whether you're talking shit or not, but for the fans need to understand, you guys are making all these predictions and who's going to do what. The fighter lose, he lose. I don't lose no sleep regardless to what happened. You think when Anthony Joshua got beat by Andy Ruiz, I was motherfucker, he cheated, no. You know what I did? I was like, damn, AJ. Oh, well. All right, so we eating. That's what I did. I'm not going to lose any fucking sleep. Anybody AJ fight, I'm going with AJ to win. But if he lose, he lose. Why the fuck am I going to lose sleep? Why am I going to... AJ not breaking me. AJ not coming to me. Hey, man, for being a big supporter of mine, I'm going to give you a big lump sum of money. I ain't getting none of that money from him. None of him. I don't get paid to argue with people. No, I just enjoy the sport of boxing. And I try to communicate with mature, like-minded, you know, and have someone that has the maturity that can understand it's just a conversation. I'm not here to have people, motherfucker, this, no, fuck you, you motherfucker. I'm not doing that bullshit with you. If that's what you guys do, and you do that shit with someone else, I just simply have conversation. Somebody today, yesterday, I made a comment on Sport and Icons page, and someone was like, oh, Fury's a cheater, and if that motherfucker fights clean and don't cheat, you'll see. And I simply typed in, man, listen, I don't lose any sleep regardless to what happens. I'm just having fun on it. Now, if you lose sleep, that's too bad for you, brother. I'm good. He never responded after that. He's going to lose his license. What? Okay, so if he loses his license, if he can't fight again or whatever, what that got to do with me? You know? That's Fury's life. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on this one. I will see y'all on the next one.